Dear friends, welcome to Information Security Fundamentals, Part 1. We would begin today's session by quoting Bertrand Russell, who is well known for very small jargons and statements. He stated that obviousness is the enemy of correctness. Many of the things which we will be learning in this course or we will be debating in this course are obvious things which are not followed, and because of that we land up with issues. So we will be teaching you the obvious things and what it means if you neglect those things in global scenario. In this course we would look at people, process and technology. People are the ones who follow a process. These processes are implemented by technology. So, all these three terms which are interconnected, people, process and technology, plays an important role in the information security concept. So, security should be addressed at all these levels, and there is a lot of disciplines and policies and procedures that needs to be implemented at each one of these stages, and our discussions will talk deeply about it. So, before we begin, I would like to extend a word of thanks to the Principles of Information Security by Michael E. Whitman and Herbert J. Method, 4th edition. I would also like to thank the website by pagesoregon.edu. My heartfelt gratitude to NPTEL and Professor V. Kamakoti, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, along with Dilip Iyer from Deccan Infotech for their extensive and elaborative sessions in NPTEL. I would also like to thank Isaka and the authors for the slides provided with the book and on the website, some of which we are using in this presentation. And my sincere thanks to Security Plus Guide to Network Security Fundamentals, Course Technology, 4th edition by Michael Whitman, and the book Information Security Fundamentals by Thomas R. Peters and Justin Peters and John Backley. So moving ahead, now we will be talking about Kevin Mitnick, who is actually a hacker. Basically, he was a cyber criminal and he was actually arrested by FBI. He came back and he became one of the world-renowned computer security expert. And he came out with this very interesting statement which is also an obvious statement, stating that people are the weakest link and you can have the best technology, firewall, intrusion detection systems, biometric devices, and somebody can call an unsuspecting employee. That's all she wrote. Maybe they got everything. This particular phrase is known for decades now, that whenever there is a security lapse, majorly it is going to be because of people's unawareness about certain security measures. Though we know that people are the weakest link, many organizations do not actually invest in educating their people on the issues of security. That is why it is said, even though you have the best of technology, if a small leak is from the employee's side or a human error or human carelessness, it could essentially kill the entire system, and this is the reality. Moving in further, Jim Anderson came out with this very interesting definition of information security, especially in today's enterprise world where we have huge data centers. It is nothing but a well-informed sense of assurance that the information risks and controls are in balance. For every risk, I have a way to control it. I take a risk, I have enough checks and balances to control it. So if that assurance is given, then your information is actually secured. And this is exactly the definition that was given by Jim Anderson. For every risk you take, you have a balance to control it. So, going into details with information security, Various scientists or various information security personnel also define information security as the protection of information and its associated elements, which will also include systems and hardware which uses, stores, and transmits that information. It makes use of necessary tools, which might be a policy, awareness, training, education, and technology. Some people also define it as the application of measures to ensure the safety and privacy of data by managing its storage and distribution. It has both technical and social implications. Now, social implications relates to all the ethical and non-ethical issues related to the access and transmission of information. We also have a definition which states that information security system is the process of protecting the data from unauthorized access, disclosure, destruction, or disruption. Now, all this definition centers around one important goal, which is information storage and its distribution, which needs to be looked after and prevented from any kind of attacks or threats that might lead to its failure. So, moving ahead, what are these threats basically to the information security system? Now, there is a sender who sends information and there is a receiver who receives this information. Now, what kind of threats or what kind of attacks these sender and the receiver might be experiencing at their ends? So, the first important element for information security is confidentiality, which is unauthorized disclosure of information. That means whenever a sender is sending a file to the receiver, it is a mandate that the receiver only should be able to open that file and read it. If some other person or if some other element in the system reads that particular file, that means the confidentiality is compromised. The next important concept is integrity, which is unauthorized modification of information. Now, whatever the sender is sending to the receiver should be able to read that particular information without any changes to that information. The third important aspect is availability. Availability strictly adheres to the concept that the data, information, or the resources should be available to the sender and the receiver at any point of time, and there is no such problem such as denial of service or denial of response from any of the systems. So, when we look into the information security pyramid or the elements which will build up information security, we will see that the vital and the important elements forms the inner pyramid, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability that we have already discussed, and three more such elements, which is authenticity, accountability, and non-repudiation, assists the previous three concepts. Authenticity refers to providing verification of identities, which means only authenticated or the people allowed to access that system are basically getting access to that system. The next is accountability, which is assurance by recording the identities and activities. That means there should be equal responsibility between the sender and the receiver and the actions that they are actually performing within that system. And non-repudiation, that means at any point of time either of the parties cannot withdraw from the process that is already into execution. So, going back in history, we will see that there are different steps which evolved from the earlier times till the present scenario before information security, actually came into place. We have to learn the lessons of the past to go and appreciate the present and the future. The computer security basically began at that time. It was computer security, not information security. It began immediately after the first mainframes were developed. There were groups developing code breaking computations during World War II, and that created the first modern computers. Physical controls at that point to secure these computing machines, which actually stored some information, sensitive information basically, and there were no network, but they had some lot of physical controls. Especially and essentially, they wanted to physically secure these systems. Physically secure means it should be under lock and key. So, the physical controls were needed to limit access to authorized persons to sensitive memory locations, and only rudimentary controls were available to defend against this physical theft, espionage, or sabotage. The first machine that was invented was by a German engineer named Arthur Scherbius at the end of World War I. And it was known as Enigma, and several different Enigma models were produced, but the German military models having a plug board were the most complex. Japanese and Italian models were also in use. It was used in the early to mid 20th century to protect commercial, diplomatic, and military communication. Around December 1932, Marian Rejewski, a Polish mathematician and cryptanalyst, while working at the Polish Cipher Bureau, used the theory of permutations and flaws in the German military message encipherment procedures to break the message keys of the plugboard Enigma machine. After that, the British took over the entire information security concept. So, as you can see, the Enigma machine was one of those pioneer machines which contributed immensely towards data or information security. In 1960, the Department of Defense Research Advanced Research Project Agency (ARPA) began examining the feasibility of redundant network communications, and Larry Roberts was responsible for developing the project from its inception. During this time, Internet was formally launched, or Internet was formally in place. After that, in 1966, Robert Taylor, Licklider's replacement, suggested Licklider was another personnel from the same organization who was responsible for establishing communication between different computers, suggested that existing machines can also be used to link different sites. That means remote communication. So Larry Roberts sometimes also was referred to as the father of ARPANET because he was the first person to establish communication between various devices. But there was a problem because computers which needed to be networked did not at all use the same operating system. Some of them were running in a different operating system. The others were running in a different version of the operating systems. So Larry Roberts designed a smaller computer for each facility to link the primary machines at each location, which are known as Internet Message Processors. So these processors removed the differences in operating system and brought the systems to a common platform through the development of these IMPs. It breaks data streams into packets, and hence it is also known as packet switching network. However, in late 1970s and early 1980s, ARPANET grew in popularity and its potential for misuse. The ARPANET, which was connecting these microprocessors, essentially brought in a notion of security wherein somebody dials up a connection and he is an authentic person, or whether he is a hacker or whether he is authorized to dial up that connection. And if somebody starts using this system, does he have the necessary identification and authorization? And these are all something which became issues with the ARPANET. And this started in early 1970s and 80s. So though ARPANET was full-fledgedly working with different devices connected and communicated with each other, essentially it was exposed to all types of vulnerable attacks to the machines. Information security basically began, or computer security was replaced with information security with the RAND report, which is R609, where it was defined that the scope of computer security grew from physical security and included the safety of data, limiting unauthorized access to that data, and involvement of personnel from multiple levels of the organization. That means in an organization, if it has different people working in different categories, which group of people should be access to which part of the application was restricted. So even now, for example, if you are visiting any banking website or you are doing an online transaction, essentially you can only access your account. You are not allowed to access someone else's account, or you are not allowed to access the entire system which the manager is capable of accessing. Similarly, a clerk working in that bank is not capable of accessing whatever the manager is accessing. So the ability to secure each now influenced by security on every computer to which it is connected. A mistake done by one system, a vulnerability in one system can launch massive denial of service attack on the entire LAN, and this is something that one needs to be careful. So hence this R609 came into action, where the safety of data was ensured using limiting the unauthorized access to that data and introduced the multiple levels of hierarchy. However, the present scenario, which is 1990 and beyond, network of computers became more common, and it too needed that different networks should be interconnected with each other, which resulted in the internet and the first manifestation of a global network of networks. In the early internet deployments, security was treated as a low priority, which was dealing only with unauthorized access and safety of data or keeping a backup of the data. However, the internet has brought millions of computer networks into communication of each other, and many of them are unsecured from various perspectives. I've already discussed about the elements of your information security. So all these elements were vulnerable. An ability to secure each now influenced by the security on every computer to which it is connected. Which means, as I've already mentioned, a mistake done by one system or a vulnerability in one system might compromise or might jeopardize the entire communication system. So one needs to be extremely careful while dealing with such type of a setup. In today's environment, we have various devices, websites, portals, softwares connected with each other. Skype, eBay, YouTube, BlackBerry, Facebook, just to name a few. The word Google has actually become a verb. So whenever you need something, you just have to Google it. We do not no longer call Google as a search engine, but we simply call it as a verb, or use it as a verb to search for something. So everyone wants some level of security and privacy and confidentiality and availability because of the huge amount of data that is being exchanged at every point of time. Now, the entire gamut of information security is to come out with a policy, a process, a procedure, a technology which will go and enable a major secure feeling and assurance, just as defined by Jim Anderson. That means we take a risk and essentially we know the steps to control it. Hence, information security needs to be used and accessed to its full potential to make our lives and communication smoother, thereby protecting our information and data. So, thank you. We will continue in the next part.